Good evening.
Good evening. How you doing, Serial?
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Is that everyone, Jade?
Yeah, that's everyone.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Edgar Ramos. I'm the chair of the CB7 Traffic and Transportation meeting. I'm going to be assisted this evening by Jahara Arias, my co-chair. I've been having problems with my eyes, so she's going to have to take care of some of the reading part. But this is our October Traffic and Transportation meeting. We could just read off the guidelines, please.
Jay, can you send me over the guidelines? I don't think I have them.
I can share my screen if you'd like.
Thank you. Yes,
Please.
thank you. Okay, hi everybody. I am Jahira Arias, Vice Chair of Traffic and Transportation, here together with Chair Edgar Ramos. This is Bronx Community Board 7's Traffic and Transportation committee meeting, and the committee agenda is as follows. On September 2nd, 2021, Governor Kathy Hochul signed into law Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021, which authorizes the community board to run this meeting remotely, and minutes will be taken for record keeping. The minutes will appear on our website within days and can be requested at the Bronx CB7 staff at any time. If you're calling into the meeting on the conference controls while joining from a landline or cell by calling the dial-up number, to hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, *9 for virtual raise hand. How we will run this meeting is as follows. Code of conduct for meeting, penalties and actions. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in appropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban, the amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committees of the participant in the event of a repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities will be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker or presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the hand raised button on their screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions by presenting the raise hand button on your screen, or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussions, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussions after each presentation/agenda item and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions relating to the meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function or raise your hand function now or contact the district manager.
All right, thank you very much, Jahira.
You're welcome.
Our following will be our attendance. Edgar Ramos, Chair, myself, President, Jahara Arias.
Jahira Arias, present.
All right, Eric Asensio emailed that he was going to be unavailable this evening. Lowell Green, also, she's out of town. Andrew Leosa
Andrew Leosa, present.
and Daisy Perry.
Present.
Thank you very much, Daisy. All right, we do have quorum. We have 4 people present, 2 people absent. So this is an official meeting. If we can just, I sent everyone an email with September's minutes. Did everyone get an opportunity to review them?
Looking at them.
Okay. Andrew, did you get it? Did I send it to the correct email? All right, as you guys review the minutes real quick, I just want to inform Officer Meredith. I don't know if you're aware, but that situation that we've had on 204th Street and Jerome with the tires on top of the truck, that has been resolved as far as them being on top of the trucks. Now they're blocking the sidewalk path, but they're no longer on top of the trucks. That happened theoretically the following Tuesday after we had our meeting. So I thank you if you were part of that crew that took care of that. I know I talked to Edge. Edge told me that that they, it was something that was worked on, and thankfully that's being avoided. All right, thank you.
Yes, not a problem. Yes, I did spoke to, I think one of the owners back in September, early September.
Mhm.
And his main issue was that he needed time. So I told him, listen, you're going to have to try to work on this. We could work with you, of course.
Right.
And then I went back as a follow-up on the 30th, like around 11:40 a.m. And I noticed the big improvements.
Yeah, because like I said, I passed by there the following Tuesday and saw that the tires were starting to be removed. So we thank for your attention in that matter. All right, guys. We're now going on those that approved the minutes for September. I vote yes. Jahira,
Jahira Arias votes yes.
thank you. Eric is out. Lowell is out. Andrew,
Andrew supports the motion.
thank you. And Daisy,
Yes, there's a typo, but yes, with corrections.
okay. Just send me an email with the correction, please.
Okay.
Just because I can't read the chat here. When you get a chance, it doesn't have to be like right now. Just send me a update with the change, please. So I'm glad I got the correct new email, right, Daisy?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so the first item that we have is well, the follow-up from last month is the tires are gone. We're still looking to get in touch with MTA and work on a few of those issues there. New business, we have Raphael from Bronx CB6 wanted to discuss an item. Raphael.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chair. Hi, everyone. My name is Raphael. I'm the District Manager of Community Board 6. And I reached out to Board 7 to discuss an issue that I became aware of, but not through the board, but from reading some local press around what's going on with Fordham Road. So what seems to be happening is that DOT, I think several months ago, maybe a year ago, DOT started a working group to determine how to improve bus times on Fordham Road. And if you've ridden the BX12, you will know that the BX12 moves pretty slowly across Fordham. I think they averaged it to like 5 or 6 miles an hour when you account for all the stops and lights. So DOT is looking to improve bus speeds on Fordham Road And I think in your agenda, you have a link to 3 proposals that DOT has put forward in how to improve bus times. Those include making a dedicated bus lane and narrowing Fordham Road to 1 lane of traffic for cars. This seems like a difficult thing to manage. And so City Councilmember Feliz has issued a letter to DOT calling on them to delay this plan for a year. The Fordham Road bid and the Belmont bid have both called on DOT to halt this plan and to reconsider. And it seems like, I was in a meeting with Councilmember Feliz and DOT, the Bronx DOT, and it seems like the main point that the council member was making was that, if bus times are negatively affected by people blocking the bus lane, and you'll know from riding on the BX12, cars will double park, cars will be in the bus lane preventing the bus from going forward, that is slowing down bus times. And so the council member and the bids are calling on NYPD to do specific bus lane enforcement on Fordham Road. The letter they've issued out, the headlines that they've gotten haven't really stated that that's really the main thing they're pushing for. It seems like the most recent news on this, I think it was in the Post recently, that basically Councilmember Feliz is calling on the process to stop for a year. But my concern was that DOT, I think recently has, they have a mind of their own at times. I think it's fair to say. And so I just seem to be under the impression that DOT is going to move forward with this plan and then inform the community boards after that has been determined, right? It seems like there's negotiation between the council member and the agency, but I don't expect that the community boards are going to have DOT is looking to the community boards to for input before they make their decision. It seems like they're on their path to make a decision, and we'll find out about it after the fact. I spoke to the district manager of Board 5, and he seemed to be under the impression that of the 3 proposals, shutting down Fordham Road to car traffic didn't seem like the most likely proposal, because that's also one of them. They just shut it to car traffic completely. And he seemed to think they're going to go for one of the earlier ones. But I just wanted to reach out to Board 7 to kind of inform you that this is being considered at the agency level, that there's been some controversy around it, there's been some press around it. And if the board is interested in, reviewing the proposals and issuing a recommendation, I'm encouraging the Board 6 Transportation Committee to do that as well this month, to review the proposals. And if they have a preference, make that preference known, because I think otherwise DOT is just going to move forward with one of the options and inform us after the fact.
All right. Raphael, thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Just to give you a heads up, we're going through something similar to that with Gun Hill, right? One of the problems, or one of the issues that it is that Transit MTA is a state agency, right? That lives among us in the city, right? So some of the stuff we're not directly privy to before it starts. I know they're now in the process of doing the changes that has to be done on Gun Hill to improve the time, right? They're adding bus stops in the middle of the street. They're doing a couple of changes that they've done throughout the borough, right? Thankfully, they're including us in that conversation. I don't know what happened. I used to get invited to the Fordham bid meetings, and that just kind of stopped. I don't know I know I missed one meeting because of work, and then after that, I didn't know what was going on with it. I kept being told I was going to be updated, and I never got any information. I spoke to DOT earlier today, and they're going to put me back on the distribution list to make sure that I'm invited to all the future conversations. I know that before major decisions are made, DOT tries to talk to all the related agencies, the community boards that are affected. I know right now, I think it's CB11 that handles the bus coming up Gun Hill at the beginning. And that's where the changes have started. And like I said, up to now, they've been good as far as opening the conversation with us as to what some of the changes they're trying to do on Gun Hill that's going to impact our community board. But I thank you to bringing this to attention that they have 3 proposals, because like I said, I haven't been privy to any of this information. I really don't know what happened, but we definitely, I want to be a part of that conversation moving forward and make sure that, you know, all the community boards are working together and voicing the same opinion, because that's always important. Because it doesn't make sense for me to say, no, we're going to put a no border crossing at CB7 on the Fordham buses, because that doesn't make any sense. We got to work together. Because I mean, Fordham traffic is just Fordham traffic. Deliveries, you have pedestrians, you have vehicles, you have, I mean, people dropping off people. It's a lot of things going on Fordham Road, more so between Webster and Jerome. You know, prior to that, you have the schools, you have certain things, but not as much a heavy population. So they definitely gonna have to figure something out when they get up to our area. I appreciate you reaching out to us and letting us know that this is gonna become an issue and that we can work together. Definitely something we want to do. I haven't seen the 3 proposals you're talking about, right? So I can't talk to any of them. I heard about the stopping of vehicles on Fordham Road. I don't see that as feasible. There's too many schools. There's too many other things on and near Fordham Road to I think really allow that. And basically Tremont, Fordham, and 233rd are the only streets we have that really cross from Jerome all the way down to Webster, to the connecting kind of the west side and the east side. You know, because Marshall Parkway, Allerton, that kind of is non-commercial. It's so really, if you look at it, Gun Hill, 233rd, Fordham, and Tremont are only continuous cross points.
Edgar, I'm sorry to cut you up, but we have people with their hands up, but I just wanted to chime in a little bit real quick. Raphael, thank you for the information. We are definitely going to look into it as well. And, you know, we're all in this together. So we're definitely going to, as soon as everybody gets these proposals and we all put our heads together, we'll figure it out together, because, you know, we're the public. We're the ones that have to really decide if this is worth it or not. But other than that, I'm moving it on forward. Chad, you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. I was just going to say, I know we haven't seen a proposal yet, but one area of opportunity that could be looked at, I don't know if this was mentioned, is the grid blocking at some of the intersections. I know when the grids get blocked, this prevents other vehicles from clearing the way for buses to pass. I'm not sure if this is added, but I just wanted to make a mention that that could be something that can have an added focus on.
Thank you. I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna wait for the studies to come out, or the
Studies, right?
information, and we will definitely, you know, work together. We'll be in communication with you as well,
Thank you.
since we're neighbors.
Yeah,
Raphael,
on Fordham Road.
Raphael, do you know if there's another meeting scheduled or if there's an upcoming meeting?
I'm not really sure of the process is on. I have to reach out to DOT and ask them where they are in the process, but it seems like DOT asked the council member to reach out to the commissioner. So I think actually Jay put in the chat the letter that was issued to Commissioner Rodriguez for DOT citywide. But I don't know if there's been a response to that or any meetings set up. I know that, you know, as far as Board 6 earlier in the year, you know, they issued a letter recommending against some changes that were happening on Southern Boulevard. several institutions and the council member also issued letters recommending against it. And then DOT did it at 11 PM on a Sunday night without telling anyone. So
Yeah, I know, 'cause we were affected by that also, right?
Yeah.
Because there was one thing that was done from Fordham Road South and a different thing that was done from Fordham Road North.
right.
And when it was presented to us, they didn't show us what they were doing south of Fordham Road. The only piece we got shown was what was being done north of Fordham Road on Southern Boulevard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's definitely something we've got to act together, so that we can get something, you know, helpful for both sides.
Yeah.
Like I said, just keep me updated directly or through Jade on when something else is scheduled. In the interim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute what the proposals that you sent. I guess the information that Jade has, we get that sent out to everybody on the board just so that they're familiar. I'm sorry, everybody on the committee, so that they're familiar, so that when we go to this next meeting, we can have some thoughts prepared rather than having everything just kind of thrown at us.
And I put in the chat an article from Streets Blog. It was earlier this year. The Streets Blog article has diagrams of what DOT is proposing.
Okay. Unfortunately, because I don't know if you were privy to this, but I was kind of saying Jahira's helping me with the meeting because I kind of can't see very well right now.
Okay.
I got blood dripping down my eyes, so I can't read little stuff. So
I'll send it to the staff then of the board.
okay, cool.
You can have
I
it.
appreciate that, Raphael.
Thank you, Raphael. We'll circulate it and we'll take a look at it. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Following that up, on our agenda, right, it states that we have a presentation from DOT in reference to the car share program and the bridge component for rehabilitation contract. DOT called me earlier and informed me that they will be presenting that in November. They weren't ready for that ride share presentation. The only thing they said is that the state and they are moving forward on that project. I don't know if anyone's familiar, but in areas like Castle Hill, I believe Riverdale, there were a few places where basically they eliminated common street parking and they created parking spaces for these rideshare companies. I think it was Uber, I believe was one of them. Basically with their enterprise, I forget what the other one was, but basically what it was a program where you can basically rent a car, have a rental and pick it up in your neighborhood. And those parking spots are only for rideshare cars. So it's an impact on the neighborhoods with the lacking parking spaces as it is. So that's one of the biggest concerns that we have at CB7 because we have horrible parking as it is. So it's important that they let us know how many parking spaces are we losing and why. So they should have that for us in November. So following that, Officer Meredith, are you ready?
You can hear me?
Yep.
How's everybody doing? Good evening. Again, I'm Officer Benedict from Transit District 11. We are located on 161 Yankee Stadium. So far, the update that I have for everybody, the 28-day crime period from September 5th to October 2nd. We had a total of 6 crimes. 3 of them was closed. 3 of those individuals was arrested. We would like to remind everybody, actually be careful when you actually have your phones on your pockets. I know lately we have been having victims actually carrying their phones in their pockets, and that's an easy snatch from your pockets. Another thing, back checks. I know we randomly inspect for any type of advice as far as when we do back checks. We just want our passengers to try to comply, because sometimes they want to give us a hard time saying you're not allowed to actually inspect my bag or whatever the case may be. You're right. You could reject, but you're gonna have to actually leave the station. But in order for you to take the train, we need access. We need permission to actually search your bag. But as far as that, any other questions or concerns, I will stick around for a little while.
All right,
I'm sorry, Edgar, Sirio has his hand up.
Yep, go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you. My question was really about the ride share. It's a shame that public property that belongs to all the people of all the New York is being privatized. And it started with the restaurants getting the parking to build sheds to have outdoor dining. It's stores that extend over 5 feet into the sidewalks, all these auto shops that park cars on the public sidewalks, that stack tons and tons of tires all over the place. And bit by bit, the private sector is being, the public sector is being sold out to the private sector. It's a shame that these cars are gonna be able to buy spots and get free spots, or however the city does it. It's the same thing with all those city bikes, with all the mopeds laying around. And, you know, as we as a people, if we don't speak up and do something about it, they're gonna be in our living rooms and taking over our own private houses. And that's my personal opinion.
Surreal, thank you very much for sharing. Just as a quick update, I know there's been a few requests for numbers from City Bike, right? I keep talking to DOT in reference to getting that for us. What they have asked for is if we notice or if we know of any particular City Bike locations that don't look like they're getting usage, right? If you can let us know, and we can go to DOT and, you know, let them know that this City Bike station isn't really getting used. Is it really useful to have it where it is? Some of them have reasoning for where they are, right? Either because they're near an educational institution, or if they're beside a hospital or something like that. Some of these really don't make sense, or at least not right now. They may in the future, but if you guys know of any locations, City Bike locations that don't seem to be getting usage, if you can let the community board know, so we can have DOT address and investigate. But Sirio, I definitely understand what you're talking about. There used to be something in certain neighborhoods that were predominantly garages and stuff like that. But little by little, it seems to be moving almost everywhere, right? It seems like anyone with an impediment, where you have to have a walker or you have to have a wheelchair, your devices barely fit on the sidewalk trying to go past some of these businesses, you know. And then some of them, your wheelchair or your walker just pass. Well, what happens when someone's coming the other way, right? That creates a situation. So it's definitely something we have to monitor and we have to keep attentive on. Because like I said, I'm like 5 degrees of being away from a walker, so I'm kind of cognizant of that fact. So I try to keep an eye out wherever I see, you know, where people's garages and the trees create a situation where you can barely fit a wheelchair through. And
Edgar, we also have Chad's hand up as well.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So we ask anyone that sees situations like this, if you could just please notify the community board. Chad, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. I'm not sure if it's on topic or anything, but if you're boarding the train station and you're being targeted for a bag check, and for whatever reason you refuse, and you say, at this present time, I don't feel like being checked. What would stop me from leaving the station and going to another station to avoid the back check?
Absolutely nothing. Like Officer Meredith stated, he says if you do not comply with the bag search, you're asked to leave the station. What you do after you leave the station is completely on you. You can jump on an express bus. You could walk up the block to the next station. I mean, you have choices and alternatives, but you don't know if the next station has the search going on also.
Correct.
That's exactly what I was going to think about, because on Fordham, the walk to the D train from the 4 is not that long.
Right, right. You have choices. You have choices, and you have you know, it's up to what you're willing to do. You know.
Correct. Yes, you got options.
Got you.
Any other questions? All right. I don't know why on the agenda they have DOT updates again. The only thing I want to update everyone, I told everyone about the tires. The tires are no longer on top of the trucks on 204th and Jerome. Those have been removed. Unfortunately, as was brought to our attention, you know, the tires are now blocking the sidewalk. So I mean, we're working on it little by little, little baby steps, I guess. So you know, we got them off the truck. He said he needed time to try to get them located somewhere. So you know, we're kind of, he did one step, so we're going to be a little, you know, lenient to see if he'll open up those sidewalks for us. You know, on one side where the trains are, there's really not much foot traffic, but on the side by the high school and the gym and everything else, that's definitely a busy thoroughfare. So we definitely need to address that. What else? Also, in reference to MTA, I'm still looking for a contact from MTA in order to get some of our other questions answered in reference to the possibility of an elevator install at Mushula Parkway on the 4 line. At one point, that was supposed to be the next station, but I believe a lot of the construction that's going on the Grand Concourse has kind of slowed that a little bit, because they've got to do stuff with the stairs and a lot of the in and outs on those train stations to comply with some of the changes that are being done with the sidewalks and that construction. The Gun Hill bus movement that's being done, from what I understand, the stuff from the other area, the CB11, the beginning of the bus as they turn up out of Co-op City, some of that work is being started. They still kind of have to work on what exactly they're going to do between Webster and Bainbridge, and what is actually going to get done. I think that's all I have. Does anyone have any question or any topics that we should try to discuss? Oh, I'm sorry. I know it was a late session today with City Council. City Council is looking to change the fares on the New York City taxis, right? So allegedly the new suggestion is a $3 flat initiation fee when you get it, as soon as you get in the car. So that'll be changing from $2.50 to $3. I believe it's a $65 flat fee to JFK. It's a $5 surcharge for going to LaGuardia Airport, and they're talking about some type of rush hour fee. That's all still being discussed, so I have no specifics for anyone. Same thing with the with how do you call it, the car stopping at 60th Street. That's all still works in progress, so there's nothing officially written to update.
Edgar, you have 3 hands up. You have Serial, Andrew, and Dariat Vanderveer Brooks Senior.
Okay, Andrew, please.
Yeah, regarding the tire shop on Jerome under the L at 204th Street. So it's a mystery to me how 3 old decrepit trucks that are unregistered, uninspected, uninsured are allowed to permanently sit parked against the curb in Bronx County in the city of New York. And I know that when there's enough will, these trucks can be towed. And the reason I know that is thank you for towing the trucks that were along Van Cortlandt Park by the Deegan. I saw it one night, I think it was last week. It was a major operation, and I passed by this afternoon, and it looks wonderful, spotless, clean. It looks like it should look. So I know that there is definitely a way to do it, and I would certainly like whatever was done there to be done along Jerome to remove those eyesores and potential fire hazards with all of the tires piled up on the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
Yeah, Andrew, just to update you, I believe that program went all the way down as far as Gun Hill, as far as they also addressed the trucks that were being parked along Van Cortlandt Park. It was something that was started in Queens, I believe, last month or the month before. Because I know I spoke to the commander of the 5-2, and he too was waiting for that project, because basically it's something coordination with DOT, traffic enforcement, and the truck enforcement that they're able to do that. And thankfully they were able to come up to the Bronx and do a little bit. There's still a lot more that needs to be done. There's a few more areas that need to be addressed. I know up by Co-op City, there's also a few situations off of 95 that need to be addressed. So it's a lot of spots. It's a few guys. So hopefully little by little they'll get around to all the places. I'm gonna try to add that to the list, because one of the other issues that we have along Jerome corridor is the car washing vans, right? Those things sit in the same spot for months. Some of them have been getting booted. These guys removed the boots. So, you know, there is an attempt for enforcement, but if there's people in the trucks and some of them, believe it or not, there's people actually that sleep in the truck, so you can't tow it. So it's something we're gonna bring up to the 5-2 commanding officer. Thank you for your update on that, for your information on that. Chad, you had something? I'm sorry, Andrew, does that answer everything?
Yeah, I had a second issue, but I'll let everybody else go. Thank you.
No, good. You're a committee member, so you have a little bit of clout here.
Okay, once you get me started. No, okay, so we all know the Grand Concourse and Boulevard is the jewel of the Bronx.
Yep.
A very famous architects and engineers built it. So we have private personal vehicles.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to laugh. We're having that discussion. I was with the community affairs officer, and that's it started as when they were working on the tracks, they were letting some of the workers, right, the people working on the tracks, park by the entrance as a courtesy, right? And I guess people took it to mean that just anybody can park anywhere along the concourse. And I took a drive down the concourse the other day, and literally from Bedford Park all the way down to 161st, there must have been 100 to 150 cars parked on that shoulder. And then unfortunately, some of the work that's being done further south, right, kind of, it makes it a protected area, right? And unfortunately, it makes it easier to park, right? That's being addressed. It's been noticed by the officers in the 5-2. They've been ticketing. Traffic has been ticketing. Nobody knows kind of just how they started, because it kind of started overnight, where anywhere where there's a little bit of a gap, anywhere where there's crosshairs, such as on Southern Boulevard, when you make that left turn onto Bedford Park, there's some hatched areas where it's supposed to guide traffic. They're using that as private parking, which is unbelievable. But the precinct is aware, and we are working on something for that. Thank you.
Yeah, but I also wanted to point out that there's a safety issue involved.
Right.
The cars on the Grand Concourse are parked on the cement meridian that divides the service road from the main road.
Right.
And there are steel ventilation grates over the D train. And you have a couple 1,000-pound vehicles parked on the steel air gratings. And my question is, were they manufactured and installed to support the weight of a vehicle? And if not, that's a safety hazard, and that should be taken care of right away.
I'm sorry, that was Grand Concourse or what again? I'm sorry.
All along the concourse coming down, once you get past Bedford Park, right, basically the train stays under the concourse from up to Bedford Park. After Bedford Park, at 204th, it turns off and goes towards Bainbridge.
Yes, correct.
Basically, what's happening is along the Grand Concourse, you know, the escape hatches that you have for the tracks,
Yes.
where some of these people are parking are actually where the stairs open.
All right.
And that's what's happening. Some people are cognizant of that, right? A lot of people aren't. Some people just see the parking spot and see it as a parking spot, and it's actually not. So that's happening all down the concourse. Like I said,
Hey guys, I just want to say, you know, if you see something like that, send it in an email. We can add it to the agenda and address these things in, you know, when DOT and MTA is here. So if you see it, send an email over so that we can, you know, we can add it as a new business or something, or a topic we may not know about. Okay.
Got it.
all right. Real quick, what are you, Chad? You had something else?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Officer Benedict, thank you for everything that you're doing. Just wanted to ask, we're seeing a lot of boots on cars as of late. I'm just wondering, what are the
Sorry, there's too much statics.
Sorry, you can hear me right now?
Excellent.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, only because we're only seeing boots on cars as frequently now. What are the reasons, or the reasons right now that cars are being booted? And my other question is, what has to happen in order for us to get a car towed that shouldn't, a vehicle towed that shouldn't be parked where it is?
All right. I'm sorry.
Chad, TD11 would have nothing to do with the car booting. The car booting has to do with the traffic police, and with they're basically sending those units up as far as the Bronx now. They usually go from neighborhood to neighborhood. They go around, and those that have multiple summonses on them, or cars that are already in what's that called, when the ticket's already overdue, that it's already getting penalties.
Judgments.
Thank you. Yes. Once it gets to that point, then they're booted, and once they're booted, there's an opportunity for them to get towed. For some reason, I don't know if you notice in the mornings coming off the Major Deegan, you'll see about 10 to 15 tow trucks coming up that hill on Fordham Road, because somebody got it in their targets to hit the neighborhood. Because if you go up by the 5-2 precinct, you go up by a lot of these side streets, there's a lot of booted cars. And that just kind of started about a month ago, maybe a little more.
Just so you guys know, the city of New York considers if you have infractions over $300 or more, they're entitled to boot your car for non-payment.
Right.
that is the law in the city of New York when it comes to your vehicle. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, the other reason I was asking is because I know sometimes boots might have different colors on them. And I was just curious if it had anything to do with the cars not being registered or not having the plates.
No, there's also been enforcement within the 5.2 in reference to those cars without plates, or those with paper plates that are really unregistered vehicles.
Right.
The vans that have been going around with the booting, that's been one of the things they've been concentrating on. And like I
Yeah.
said, even the officers in the 5.2 don't know why it's happening, but they've noticed it happening a lot more in the 5.2 precinct and in our jurisdiction.
I see. Thanks. And by the way, they do that a lot in Washington, D.C.
Oh,
Putting the cars. But thank you, though.
All right.
Edgar, you have Dariat.
Okay, Daria, go ahead.
Hey, Edgar, how are you? Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a suggestion. I want to know how to go about it. How would I go about suggesting a stop sign at a particular intersection? I live in Fordham Hill, and right between Fordham and Bailey, there's the crosstown bus stop, and a lot of parents want to cross the street to transfer their kids, but often cars are just coming and coming and coming. Sometimes other parents have to stand in the street as a crossing guard and stop traffic physically, like Superman and Superwoman, to try to get the kids across the street. So I'm not quite sure what the process is.
We have
How would you go
someone,
about suggesting?
we have
Okay,
someone
Daria,
last month.
I can answer that. Daria, I live in Fordham Hill also, and so does Chad.
Oh,
Here's the thing. The issue that we're having on Bailey and Fordham and things like that. One, the crosswalk in front of Fordham Hill is an appeasement. It's been very hard for me. I've been trying to get a study done, a couple of things done in that area. Chad knows well what I've been trying to do, and it's been really hard. Then COVID hit and things have stalled. So this is something that I'm really been pushing for, and DOT knows me very well about it. So you more than welcome to contact me. I can put my information in the chat, and we can continue to discuss it because I'm a pain in the ass with DOT about this.
And we had last month we had a resident from Fordham Hill also ask about that, asking about changing the direction of Webb and just paying attention to that father's eyes more where the turn is and everything. So that's something that DOT is definitely aware that is a problem. But the more names we have of people with issues with that, the easier it is for us to ask DOT to change things. Because if you
okay.
have one person, it's one thing, but if you have 15, 20 people asking for the same thing, it'll kind of shake them into actually taking a look at it. So
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
definitely reach out to Jaira. DOT is also willing to get that information. Next month, DOT will actually be on the call. So I don't know if you'll be available next month. That might be something you might want to join us on.
I'll make myself available, and also your hire. Listen, we can get a petition going. If it's 14 of us complaining, let's get 300 signatures. Maybe that'll help. We can bring it to DOT.
I've been at this for a long time with them.
Okay. Any other questions out there?
Yes, there is Sirio was still had his hand up.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. My question is about the Marshallow upgrade that they did. They did a fantastic job going north to south, which of course accommodates people driving through the neighborhood. But I want to know what's the schedule for the streets going east to west? They promised us at the meeting that they were going to put some kind of parking in. And they also promised that they were going to do the service roads with crosswalks at each intersection that we requested at the meeting.
Right.
Community is waiting patiently for this.
Right. That's a work in progress. They started repaving the middle section. All that we got from DOT is that it's a work in progress. I know they've repainted some of the lines. They've eliminated some of the lanes. So there is some changes that are going. Some changes are easier than others. Repaving and relining is one thing. If they have to create cement barriers for some of the crosswalks and some of some of the changes, that might take a little longer. But
Well,
for
the
right
curbs,
now,
the cut curbs are there. All they have to do is come in and draw the lines. There's no concrete, no
right,
nothing.
but if they've got other work that's got to be done in that area, them painting lines to then have to pave it over the painted lines doesn't make sense. They may be waiting to do it all in one shot. Because like I said, that's all a work in progress. They started Bainbridge to, I think it's Hull. They started that section. They've still got to go all the way to Southern Boulevard. And they've got a lot more things to do there. Like I said, it's a work in progress.
Okay,
I'm
but
sorry, but that's
I'm interested in what affects the community where people live.
right.
And I'm talking about east to west. I don't care about north to south. I know that's going to be done first. I just don't want them doing north to south and then packing up their bags and leaving us the way it's been. I want to make sure that they're going to do east to west. That's all I'm asking for, is what they committed to do. And that. So if there's no schedule, I don't understand how they can do work and not have a schedule when shit's gonna be done. I mean, that's, you know, yeah, I don't care if it's 6 months down the road or 2 years. I just want to know if it's gonna be on a schedule. That's all I'm asking.
Right. Like I said, the only thing we've gotten from DOT is that the work is in progress. We've got no definitive answer as to times when this will be done, when that'll be done. Right now, they're rushing to get as much as they can done before it gets cold, right? Because after a certain temperature, they can't paint lines, they can't pour concrete, they can't do a lot of that. So they're trying to get it done as fast as they can. I'm sure the companies that are doing the work want to get paid for everything, so they want to get as much done also. So it's just a matter of, you know, we hope that it's done quickly. DOT will be on the call next month, so we can better discuss with them at some type of time frame. Right. Thank you, Serial.
Okay, Edgar, we have one last hand. It's by Carmen Mendez.
Okay, go ahead, Carmen.
Carmen, are you with us? Hello? She's muted. Carmen, can you unmute yourself?
Is she muted?
She's muted.
There
Carmen,
she
can
goes.
you hear us?
Yep.
Okay, pues yo mañana los llamo para que esté tranquila ya.
Hello?
Ok, bendiciones. Ok, bye bye. Dime.
Carmen? Okay. I'm not sure there, Edgar. You want to move on?
Yeah,
Here.
let's move on. Just a curiosity, do we have any suggestions in reference to the expense?
Yeah, I want to continue to add the possibility of, and I know we've been in discussions with this before, cameras along, Sedgwick, Bailey, my area.
Right.
We've been in discussions with that for a while with DOT also. The crosswalk on the Deegan side,
Right.
from coming from north to south, or well, I guess. Those crosswalks needs to be painted. It needs to be a little bit better for pedestrians to cross. Those are the only two things on my side.
Okay.
Anyone else? Any committee member?
All right. Just an FYI to our committee. We may be changing the date of next month's meeting. I'm trying to find there's a few things that are in play, right? Because we don't know if it's going to be an in-person meeting or if it's going to be a online meeting. Those things are still being worked out from the state and from the city. Hopefully, if it is a Zoom meeting, we might be changing the date because we have we have TD11, we have DOT, we have a lot of agencies that come on to our calls, and sometimes being a Zoom meeting makes it a little easier for them to meet or come on. So hopefully we can continue this in the Zoom for those reasons. But we'll see what we're gonna do for November 3rd. Hopefully we can, if we do continue Zoom, moving the meeting won't be so traumatic, but we will notify everyone through the community board. I have a question, trying to remember your name, sir, that you asked about Fordham Hill. Are you on the, do you get our schedule?
Yes, Dariat here. I follow you on Instagram.
Okay,
So I know the Instagram post.
all right, cool. I just want to make sure, so if there is a change in the meetings, you'll be able to see and be aware.
Yes, sir. I do have the reminders on, so I get notifications.
Awesome, awesome. That's great to know. All right, so if we don't have anything else, we can adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Andrew. All
Wait,
right,
before we adjourn, I just put my email in the chat, so if anybody needs to reach me, or Carmen, if you couldn't, I know you said you had issues with your mic. Any questions, you can send it over. I'll forward them over to Edgar and to the board, and I'll send you all their information as well. So my email's in the chat, everybody. And I second Andrew's motion.
thank you. All those in favor of ending our meeting, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, being there's no opposition to calling our meeting to an end. Jade, are you still on the call? All right, Jade, if you could just do me a favor. I've noticed that when I get the email with the meeting for the minutes, we don't have the chat. Like I said, I'm unable to really read the chat. I don't know if you've been observing the chat, but I don't know if we can get that printed out or saved in some fashion before we end the meeting, just so that it doesn't get deleted when we close the meeting. Jade, can we do that?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, it was my mic.
Okay,
You're talking about the meeting chat for the Zoom, right?
correct.
Okay. So
Yeah,
when I
'cause-
save it, the recording, it will save with the chat. It's just that it's in a different file from the actual recording that we post on YouTube.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, because I noticed on the YouTube it's not there anymore. Yeah, just because I haven't really been able to really pay attention to the chat, because I really can't see the chat. So if you could save that, just send me that when you send me the YouTube of the meeting. All right.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So and I'll call this meeting to an end. Thank everyone that came. There'll be an update if we change the date of November's meeting. And we'll let everyone know through the normal process of the flyers. Like I said, if it's in person, it'll be at the Bronx Library on Fordham, on Kingsbridge, where it meets with Fordham. And that we'll know, I guess, towards the end of the month. We'll get the confirmation whether we're going to go live or if we're going to continue through Zoom. I'm sorry to leave that to the last minute, but we really don't. They keep changing it, so we're just reacting to what the state and the city is doing. Right, so I thank everyone again for being here this evening, for bringing forward your problems.
Good night, Edgar. Edgar, the best of health to you, please.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Really, 'cause